Hello? 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 No! Hi, everyone. Hello. Fish, no, it was a meme. Do you know Charlie the Unicorn? Here, I'll play it for you.
Ring, ring, hello? Ring, ring, hello? Ring, ring, hello?
Ring, ring.
Ring, ring, hello? Ring, ring.
You have a bad connection.
I never liked those unicorns. That was like in middle school or something. It was like the funniest thing. Cause it's really old. It's really old. Ring ring. Hello? Ring ring. Hello? Ring ring. Hello? Ring ring. Hello? I always think about it all the time. Anyways, hello everyone, welcome in. Hi Ivan, hi Murder Drone, hi Blocks Fruits, hi Ruin Teams. These are people from YouTube. Hi Fish, hi Silver. It does. I think it does. Count as proof. Guys, it's so hot. It's so hot. It's so hot. I had to go soak my feet in cold water. And it didn't last very long. So I'm still really hot. Hi, Ollie. I'm drinking water, and the second that I sit down, I spilt it everywhere, and so that was pretty sad. Hi, Aspex. Do I play Roblox? Once in a blue moon? Maybe like once every 3 months? Maybe even 4 months? How did you it? I miss my model. I miss looking at it. She's so pretty. I'm so pretty. How did you get it? Get what? Oh, your avatar is so cool. I see. I bought her. And someone drew her. And then someone made her move. You'll have to get your own. You have to make your own character. And then have someone draw her. Or you could draw her. Hi, William Afton. Hi, Damlin. Hello. You were doing art. What were you up to? No one expects the Jamlish Inquisition. William Afton, where? On YouTube. He's on YouTube. Hello, everyone. What were you? You were drawing? What were you up to? What were you busy drawing? Oh, why is someone floating in the middle of the screen right now? Are they okay? Is that you? Is that Jamlin? Gosh darn those mother fluffers making you work overtime, Toki. Have as much fun as you can have under these circumstances. Fan art for Elio card. I'll keep it a secret. Wait, when is his anniversary? I thought I saw a post about that recently. Fish is on the YouTube. Later today. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was like, wait, wasn't it like yesterday? But maybe I had seen it like today really early in the morning or something. No, that's okay. That's okay. It's the thought that counts. Coming from someone who streams, it's definitely the thought that counts. I have to drink so much water. Ven hasn't arrived yet. we re-warrior cats, and normally... Oh wait, where's my... I need my list of cats that have died. There we go. The death toll. We're so in warriors mode? Yeah, right? We're really embracing it. We're really with them in the forest. You're both simultaneously. Whoa. Toki does that too sometimes. Okay, guys. I want to wait for Ven, but also I want to play more Minecraft later today. So we gotta get to it. We gotta hop to the sauce. We're starting a new book. This is the second book of the 6th series. We're following Alder Paw. Usually they give us kind of like a vague summary like of what happened in the previous book while we read the new book kind of at the beginning. But you can be on YouTube. I know. That makes sense. You're saving people's lives! So that's what we usually do that. Let them read for us. The prologue is gonna be in SkyClan's POV though, it looks like. Should I give you guys like a little rundown of what happened in the previous book? Maybe. Okay, we're following Alderpaw. He's Bramblestar and Squirrelflight's child. He got a dream. He became a medicine cat in training. And then there was a new prophecy, and the prophecy seems to be related to Alderpaw in some sort of way. They were sent out to go on a quest to find SkyClan. But when they arrived where SkyClan is, they found out there were a bunch of rogues that had kicked SkyClan out, and so they returned home. They got separated. Their like little patrol got separated. And on the way back, Alderpaw and Needlepaw both found these kittens with Sandstorm's guidance. She was like, oh, take a different path in the darkness. And they found these 2 kits. And they're thinking like, oh, there's a possibility these kits are part of the prophecy because of the coincidence of it all. But also there's an equal chance that there's just some random kits. But in the chance that they are part of the prophecy, they split up the kits. So one sister is in ThunderClan and the other sister is in ShadowClan because Needlepaw is part of ShadowClan and she was the one that helped find them. It's only fair, as they say. And that's where we ended it. Jarvis. I would not be surprised at all. Men of culture can recognize other men of culture. You guys are missing the YouTube chat conversation over on Twitch. I still can't believe only 13 cats died and 13 plus cats died in Power of 3. Wow. Hi, YouTube! Okay, let's begin. Let's start. Also, I cleaned my desk yesterday after I got my cute little new desk mat and my little wrist warmer. I wish that the wrist rest was longer so that I could also put my mouse hand on it, but it's the exact length of my keyboard, so I can't do that. you, Fisher. Okay, let's begin reading. How come you guys aren't contained right now? Okay, it doesn't matter. You can be free on Warrior Cat Wednesdays. However, this person right here, Polar, was glitching out, trying to eat all the stars. My goodness. I'm not ignoring you, Toki. Thank you for the follow. These are the ones that are contained, but these guys have freed themselves. Strawman, Dandy's Lion, Fish, Snickle Fritz, and Random. Also me. Reshmita. Okay. Time to read. Prologue. Sun split the branches above Echo Song's head and sliced through the shadows, dappling the forest floor. Echo Song relished in the rays as they warmed her back. She swished her tail happily as a soft, warm wind rustled the leaves. Overhead, birds chattered, and she licked her lips hungrily. She would hunt before the sun sets. She paused. But before the sun sets? Honest, hadn't it set already today? And hadn't rain been lashing the juniper bush where she'd made her solitary nest? Yes, she'd fallen asleep to its thrumming, wondering where her scattered clanmates were sheltering as the storm swept the forest. This is a dream. Yet it felt too real to be a dream. A vision? Her heart lifted. It had been so long since she'd had a vision. She was beginning to think that StarClan had forgotten SkyClan, just like the other clans had forgotten them countless moons ago. Ahead she heard fur brushing the undergrowth. Paws steps were stalking towards her. Danger? Echo Song froze, fear clutching in her belly. No, she calmed herself. This is a vision. I'm safe here. And yet she still didn't move. Instead, she waited, her paws prickling with expectation. A broad-shouldered Tom slid from between the ferns and stopped a few tail lengths ahead. Stars sparkled in his pelt, and his blue eyes shone like the sky. Oh my gosh, I'm kind of like not good at reading today. Weird. I'll warm up into it. Who are you? Recognition itched in Echo Song's paws. His thick gray pelt was familiar, and he blinked at her softly, as though they were old friends. She'd seen him before in a vision.
Embrace what you find in the shadows, for only they can clear the sky,
the Tom murmured. Her thoughts quickened. What shadows? Who are they? He gazed at her, not speaking. And what does clear the sky mean? Frustration tightened her chest. This cat had brought her a prophecy before. What remains when the fire has burned out? It had baffled her. Why couldn't he ever say what he meant? Just tell me. Was he trying to give her a clue about what had happened to her clan? The cat she'd known her whole life had scattered when the rogues had driven them out of the gorge. She didn't even know if any of them were still alive. The gray Tom lifted his gaze and stared into the oaky canopy. As he did, a sharp wind whisked through the branches. She followed his gaze. He was watching a flurry of leaves as they fluttered towards the ground. Dancing, the leaves twirled between them for a moment before drifting onto the forest floor. Echo Song blinked at the leaves. They were not oak leaves. They were bigger and didn't have softly curved edges. Each of them had 5 points, more like maple than oak.
Now you're scattered like leaves blown by the wind.
The Tom's mew broke into her thoughts. He reached out upon, swept the fallen leaves, piling a small heap in front of him. Another 5-pointed leaf was falling, larger than the rest. It fluttered towards them like a moth. Deftly, he reached up and hooked it from the air. He laid it on top of the pile. Look. Echo Song leaned forward, excitement tingling through her pelt. What did the leaves mean? Why were they maple and not oak? As she gazed at them, trying desperately to understand their meaning, she saw them fade. No! The vision was blurring. Darkness clouded her sight. It mustn't disappear yet. She didn't understand. Tell me more! Her own panicked mew woke her, and she lifted her head sharply. She blinked into darkness, disappointment swamping her. She was back in her makeshift nest, rain beating the juniper bushes above her. Cold water dripped through the leaves and soaked into her pelt. Shivering, she closed her eyes and tried to remember every detail of the vision. Her heart pounded. What had StarClan been trying to tell her? I have to understand. If only she could figure it out, she might finally find her way home. Happy birthday, Brandon! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Brandon. Happy birthday to you. Also, I'm sad that you have a sad day. You're having a sad day, Freaky. Chapter 1. Have fun at work! Alderpaw's gaze drifted towards the trailing brambles at the entrance of the medicine den. Outside, leaves would be drifting into the hollow. Leafall had come so soon. Less than a moon ago, he'd been trekking back from his quest beneath sunny blue skies. Alderpaw! Jayfeather's sharp mew snapped him from his thoughts. He turned his attention back to the herbs piled in front of him. You're meant to be separating Yarrow from the coltsfoot. Jayfeather glared at him with sightless blue eyes. Sorry, Alderpaw mumbled. Nothing he did seemed to please Jayfeather. Hurriedly, he began to peel the wide, limp yarrow leaves away from the brittle coltsfoot. Beside him, Leafpool reached deeper into the crevice at the back of the cave. She hauled out another pawful of leaves. I think that's the last of them. Once we've sorted these, we can decide what we need to gather before Leaf Bear. Only catmint, Jayfeather mewed. If we'd gathered more last year, we might not have lost Spiderleg. Aw, Spiderleg's dead. At the far side of the medicine den, Briarlight pushed herself upright in her nest. I can help with the sorting. Thanks, Jayfeather told her without turning, but we have enough cats here already. His ears twitched irritably as he added, and kits. Alderpaw glanced guiltily at Twigkit. The young cat was playing with her leaf just inside the entrance. She stood on her hind legs, reaching up to bat the leaf into the air, then ducked as it drifted down, to catch it on her back. As it landed between her shoulder blades, she gave a meow of delight. I had to bring her with me, Alderpaw explained. She didn't have anyone to play with. What about Lilyheart's kits? Jayfeather snapped. They're her nestmates, aren't they? Leafpool pushed a pile of thyme to one side. Lilyheart kits are nearly 5 moons old, she reminded Jayfeather gently. They're far too boisterous for Twigkit. And they're not interested in having a young kit tag along. Alderpaw was grateful that Lilyheart had agreed to raise Twigkit along with her own kits, Leafkit, Larkkit, and Honeykit. But he wished the older kits had more patience with their foster littermate. Still, he knew that they would be apprentices soon. They were more interested in pretending to hunt and fight than in playing nursery games with Twigkit. If only her sister Violetkit had been allowed to stay with her in ThunderClan. Alderpaw remembered with a spark of disgust how callously the ShadowClan cats had carried Twigkit's sister away from the gathering. They hadn't cared that they were separating orphaned littermates. All they cared about was that Needlepaw, a ShadowClan apprentice, had helped find them. And since the kit might be part of a prophecy sent by StarClan, Rowan Star was determined to claim one of them for his clan. Anger surged through Alderpaw. It was my prophecy. I led the quests that found them. And yet that wasn't why he resented losing Violetkit so much. He felt sorry for Twigkit. And for Violetkit. Was ShadowClan taking care of her? Did she have a foster mother as kind as Lilyheart? Memories of his own kithood with his sister Sparkpaw and his mother Squirrelflight warmed his heart. How would I have felt if I had been separated from them? Twig Kit batted the leaf into the air once again, then leaped, her soft fluffy tail whipping to balance her as she spun in the air. Nimbly, she caught the leaf between her forepaws. She's agile, Leafpool watched approvingly. She should be playing outside, Jayfeather huffed. A medicine den is no place for kids. She could play with Briarlight, Elderpaw suggested. Because of her crippled hind legs, it was important for Briarlight to keep her forelegs strong and active and her lungs clear. Chasing a leaf with Twigkit would be good exercise. Jayfeather frowned, but Leafpool spoke before he could object. That's a great idea, Elderpaw. She looked to Twigkit. Would you like to play catch with Briarlight? Twigkit blinked at Leafpool, her eyes sparkling with delight. Can I? Of course, Briarlight purred. You can play with me any time you like. Jayfeather huffed and began untangling the pile of time. Does this mean she's going to be in here even more? Don't be so grouchy, Leafpool chided. She's not doing any harm. I guess I only trip over 3 or 4 times a day, Jayfeather snorted. Elderpaw's pelt prickled with irritation. It was almost as though Jayfeather enjoyed being the grumpiest in the clan. At least Twigkit didn't seem to have heard him. She was happily crossing the den, hurrying towards Briarlight with her leaf. Get on with your work! Jayfeather's ears twitched crossly. Not for the first time, Elderpaw wondered if the blind medicine cat could read his thoughts. Guiltily, can he still do that? I hope so. Guiltily, he turned his attention back to the yarrow and coltsfoot. The trailing brambles at the entrance rustled, distracting him again. Graystripe popped his head through and blinked at Jayfeather. Jayfeather, Bramblestar wants to see you. Leafpool and Elderpaw. Elderpaw's heart quickened. Why? He waited for Jayfeather to speak, but Graystripe went on. Can I take some comfort back to the Elder's den? The Grey Elder glanced at the herb piles hopefully. Leafpool tipped her head. Are your joints aching again? Not mine, Graystripe huffed. Millie's. Should I come check on her? Leafpool was already rolling up a wad of leaves. There's no need, unless you know a cure for aging. Graystripe pushed his way into the den. Besides, I don't think you should keep Bramblestar waiting. Rowenstar's with him. Jayfeather pricked his ears. Why didn't you tell us? Just did. As Graystripe grasped the comfrey between his jaws, Jayfeather brushed past him and headed for the entrance. Elderpaw glanced at Twigkit. Had something happened to Violet Kit? Was that why the Shadow Clan leader had come? Stay here with Briarlight, okay? She nodded. Elderpaw's heart was racing. He nosed his way through the brambles after Jayfeather, the sharp sunshine stinging his eyes. Outside the nursery, Lilyheart stretched beside Daisy, soaking up the meager warmth. There was a chill in the air, but the cliff sheltered the camp from the blustering breeze that was stirring the branches on the top of the hollow. Leafkit, Larkkit, and Honeykit were nosing around the fallen beach, poking their noses through the gaps in the woven walls of the apprentice den. There's so much room inside, Leafkit gasped. I want a nest in the middle, Larkkit mewed. Sparkpaw and Elderpaw's nests are already there, Honeykit sighed. I can see them. Leafpool's mew distracted Elderpaw from their chatter. I hope the patrols come back soon, she mewed. The fresh kill pile is empty. Elderpaw glanced at the bare patch of earth. Brightheart, Whitewing, and Cloudtail paced beside it. Hadn't they brought Gray back from their patrol? Perhaps they'd met Rowenstar before they had a chance to hunt. They gazed through narrow eyes at the muscular Ginger Tom as he stood beside Bramblestar on the high ledge. Jayfeather was already beside him, fur prickling along his spine. Elderpaw followed Leafpool up the tumble of rocks and stopped. Bramblestar's expression was grave. Little Cloud is dying. He dipped his head to Leafpool. The two medicine cats had known each other for a long time. Leafpool's eyes darkened. Is he suffering? Dawnpelt's with him now, Rowenstar told her. She's giving him poppy seeds to ease his pain, but she doesn't know what else to do. Leafpool flicked her tail. If only you'd chosen a medicine cat apprentice moons ago, she fretted. Little Cloud would have had someone to care for him properly. And Shadow Clan wouldn't be left without a medicine cat, Jayfeather growled. Rowenstar's pelt ruffled.
I didn't come here to be lectured.
Bramblestar stepped forward. "He came here for our help, Jayfeather," he said in a warning tone. Alderpaw watched his father, impressed by his authority. Bramblestar clearly understood that it would do no good to rub mouse bile in ShadowClan's wounds. A gentler approach was needed. Alderpaw stepped towards him hesitantly. Can I help?" he asked softly. Jayfeather flicked him away with his tail. "You're not borrowing our apprentice," he told Rowenstar tetchily. Alderpaw bristled. "Why not? You're always complaining I get under your paws." Rowenstar scowled.
"I don't want an apprentice. Little Cloud needs proper care."
Alderpaw twitched his tail indignantly. "I'll go," Leafpool offered.
"Thank you."
"Oh, sorry."
"Thank you." Rowenstar leaned forward. "Grassheart's kits are due any day. Tawnypelt, Snowbird, and Dawnpelt will be able to help her at kidding. But it's Grassheart's first litter, and I'd prefer to have a medicine cat close by to help if there are any problems."
Alderpaw shifted his paws. It sounded strange to hear the ShadowClan leader talk with such concern about his clanmates. After Rowenstar had snatched Violet Kit from the gathering, Alderpaw had decided the Ginger Chum must have no heart. Hope flickered through his fur. Had he been wrong? Perhaps Violet Kit was as safe and loved in ShadowClan as Twig Kit was in ThunderClan. "I'll fetch herbs and come as soon as I can." Leafpool turned towards the rock tumble. She paused at the top and called over her shoulder. "Alderpaw, travel with me. I'll need help carrying the herbs." "To ShadowClan's camp?" Alderpaw blinked in surprise. "Of course!" Leafpool whisked her tail. Jayfeather's pelt twitched. "Are you going to leave me to take care of the whole clan myself?" he asked crossly. Leafpool glanced at him, amused. "I'm sure you can handle it. But don't worry, I'll send Alderpaw straight home." Jayfeather nosed his way past Alderpaw and followed Leafpool down the rocks. "I better help you choose the herbs. I don't want you leaving me with nothing but a pile of stale tansy." Alderpaw began to follow, and he felt Bramblestar's tail flick against his spine. "Wait." Alderpaw glanced back in surprise as Bramblestar dipped his head to Rowenstar. "You should leave now. Your clanmates must need you at this time. Leafpool will travel to your camp as soon as she can." Rowenstar nodded.
"Thank you for your help,"
he meowed formally. Alderpaw wondered what it had cost him to come to ThunderClan for assistance. ShadowClan were not known for swallowing their pride. Chin high, Rowenstar padded past Alderpaw and leapt down from the tumble of rocks. He crossed the clearing, avoiding the curious gazes of White-Winged Brightheart and Cloudtail, and disappeared through the thorn tunnel. Alderpaw faced Bramblestar expectantly. Why had he asked him to wait? Did he have news of Violet Kit? After all? "I'm sending a patrol." Bramblestar's mew was soft, his gaze flickering past Alderpaw as though checking for twitching ears among the cats in the clearing below. But White-Wing and Brightheart were talking to each other, heads close. Cloudtail had followed Rowenstar out of camp, and Lilyheart and Daisy were dozing while the kits clambered along the fallen beach. Bramblestar went on. "To search for SkyClan." Alderpaw's heart leaped. Thanks, StarClan. His quest to find SkyClan had failed. Vicious rogues had driven the long-lost clan from their home in the gorge. He'd found one SkyClan survivor. But Darktail, the rogue's leader, had killed him, and there was no sign of his clanmates. StarClan's prophecy had been hard to understand from the beginning. Embrace what you find in the shadows, for only they can clear the sky. But it had led to the quest. Bramblestar and Sandstorm had been convinced that they must find SkyClan. Instead, Alderpaw and Needlepaw had found Twig Kit and Violet Kit, abandoned in a shadowy tunnel. Everyone believed now that the two motherless kits would clear the sky, but Alderpaw couldn't help wondering if they needed to find SkyClan after all. He wanted to finish the quest he had started. "Can I go?" "I'm sending Squirrelflight, Lineblaze, and Cinderheart," Bramblestar told him. "We need you here." "But they don't even know SkyClan exists," Alderpaw pointed out. Only Firestar and Sandstorm had known the truth. Ashamed that the clans had driven SkyClan from the forest long ago, Firestar had shared the secret only with the cat he had trusted the most. But Sandstorm had told Bramblestar, and now Alderpaw, Sparkpaw, Cherryfall, and Molewhisker knew too. Surely Firestar wouldn't want the secret to spread any further. "I told them,"
Bramblestar confided. They couldn't search for a clan they'd never heard of, but they're under strict orders to keep it to themselves. As far as the rest of the clan will know, they're going to search for Twigkit's mother. Alderpaw tensed. Then Twigkit mustn't hear about it. I don't want her getting her hopes up. When he'd found Twigkit and Violetkit, they were only a few days old. No queen would abandon Kit so young and helpless, unless she had no choice or was dead. Bramblestar shifted his paws. The clan will be as worried as you about getting Twigkit's hopes up unnecessarily. No cat will want her to tell her anything. All Twigcat will know is that a patrol is out patrolling. Alderpaw glanced at the top of the hollow, remembering the long journey to the gorge. Do you think they'll find SkyClan? Alderpaw glanced at the top of the hollow, remembering the long journey to the gorge. Wait, sorry, I just read the exact same sentence again. Only StarClan knows. Bramblestar blinked at Alderpaw. You better get back to your duties. It looks like some cat is waiting for you. Alderpaw glanced over his shoulder, following Bramblestar's gaze. He expected to see Jayfeather beckoning him impatiently. Instead, he saw Twigkit shifting her paws impatiently at the edge of the clearing, her eyes fixed on him. How long had she been there? Had she overheard this conversation? As Bramblestar turned towards his den, Alderpaw scrambled down the tumble of rocks. Twigkit scampered across the clearing to meet him.
Leafpool says you're going to ShadowClan.
Her eyes were bright with excitement.
Can I come?
Alderpaw blinked at her, wishing she could. She hadn't seen her sister since they'd been separated half a moon ago. He wondered for a moment whether to ask Leafpool or Bramblestar for permission. And he imagined Jayfeather scowling. Take a kit to treat a dying cat? What nonsense. He would never allow it.
Can I?
Twigkit asked again, lifting her front paws hopefully. No. Alderpaw told her regretfully. You're too young to leave camp. Sadness glittered in Twigkit's green gaze. I'm sorry, Alderpaw began, but before he could finish, Twigkit hared towards the nursery.
Wait there, she called to him. I won't be long.
He watched her go, wondering what she was up to. Beside the honeysuckle wall to the elder's den, in a dip that caught the morning sun, Graystripe was washing comfrey pulp into Millie's fur. Millie's eyes were half closed, pleasure showing in the slits as he worked the herb into her spine. Alderpaw dipped his head as he caught Graystripe's eyes. Graystripe lifted his muzzle, green pulp staining his jaws. Let me know if you need anything more. Getting more comfort before the frost comes, he meowed. I may not be fast enough for the mice these days, but I can stalk herbs. Millie purred.
You can hunt mice as well as any warrior, she told him.
Why bother? Graystripe asked. When I can let the youngsters catch 'em for me. Twigkit squeezed out of the narrow entrance of the bramble nursery. Alderpaw could see that she was carrying a red feather between her jaws. She trotted towards him and laid it carefully at his paws.
Will you give this to Violetkit?
A feather? Alderpaw looked at it, a pang in his heart. It seemed a small offering, but Twigkit was staring at it excitedly.
Violetkit found one before they took her away, she told Alderpaw. She kept it in our nest because she thought it was so pretty. This isn't the same one. Lilyheart threw the other one away when she was cleaning out the old bedding. But I found this one at the edge of the camp the other day, and I knew Violetkit would like it.
She stared at Alderpaw eagerly.
You'll take it to her, won't you? You'll tell her it's from me?
Guilt prickled through Alderpaw's pelt. If it weren't for the prophecy StarClan had shared with him, the clans wouldn't have squabbled over the kits. They'd still be together, not in different clans. They could play together instead of sending feathers by messenger. At least they're alive. Alderpaw shook out his pelt. If it weren't for the prophecy, he and Needlepaw might never have found them, and they'd have died alone in the wild. He licked Twigkit fondly on the head. Of course I'll give it to her, and I'll tell her that you're thinking of her. As Twigkit nuzzled his cheek, purring, he picked up the feather and headed towards the medicine den. Okay, let me catch up.
I'm Grand Regent Goober. Hi, Goober.
Make a manga. Of what?
Thank you, Star.
Thank you for the follow private moment. Thirsty.
I'm gonna eat a gummy bear really quickly. Delicious gummy bears. Vaseline. Hello. ShadowClan's scent, tinged with the sharp smell of pine sap, filled Alderpaw's nose. The bundle of herbs between his jaws was making his tongue tingle. A ShadowClan patrol led by Tawny Pelt met them as he and Leafpool crossed the border. Alderpaw recognized his father's coloring among the splotches in the tortoiseshell's molted pelt. She was Bramblestar's sister, and for the first time, Alderpaw realized how strange it felt to have a kin in another clan. He thought of Twigkid, how much stronger it must feel when that kin was a littermate. Tawny Pelt greeted them warmly. "Thank you for coming," she meowed, signaling with her tail to a white tom at her side. "Help carry the herbs, Stonewing." Leafpool laid down the parcel of herbs she had been carrying and let them take it. "Thank you." Alderpaw recognized Sleekpaw standing beside them. He remembered the feisty she-cat from his first gathering. Twigkid's feather was tickling his nose, sticking out from the wad of rolled leaves he was carrying between his jaws. But he looked hopefully at the yellow apprentice, wondering if she might offer to help carry his bundle. Sleekpaw glanced at him haughtily and headed away between the pines. Alderpaw sneezed. "Let me help." Tawny Pelt took the leaves from him gently, tugging them with her teeth. The feather fluttered to the ground, and Alderpaw snatched it up quickly. Tawny Pelt and Stonewing followed Sleekpaw between the trunks. Alderpaw hesitated, glancing at the straight, evenly spaced pines. This was the first time he'd been in ShadowClan territory, and he was surprised how different it was from ThunderClan's forest, where twisting trunks and low branches covered dips and rises, their leaves already browning and falling. In ShadowClan, the forest floor was smooth, dotted here and there with brambles and rutted occasionally with ditches, and there seemed to be no leaf fall at all. Pines stretched into the distance, their thick canopy blocking over the sun. Countless moons' worth of fallen needles made the ground feel springy beneath their paws. Leafpool nudged him. "Stop staring and keep up," she whispered. "I don't want you getting lost." Alderpaw hurried forward, following Stonewing as he leapt over a fallen tree. He scrambled over the rough bark, landing clumsily as Leafpool dropped lightly beside him. "I don't see why we need to ask ThunderClan for help," Sleekpaw meowed loudly. Tawny Pelt flicked her tail out, but didn't reply. Stonewing continued walking. Alderpaw guessed that the herb parcels between their jaws were keeping them silent, but he wondered if they felt the same way about leading ThunderClan cats to their camp. Leafpool sniffed. "Someone needs to take care of Little Cloud." "I don't see why," Sleekpaw retorted. "It's not like you can cure him. He's so old, he should have joined StarClan moons ago." Jesus. Tawny Pelt halted with a growl and dropped her herb parcel. "Carry this, Sleekpaw," she mewed sharply. "It'll help you hold your tongue." Oof. Sleekpaw glowered at the ShadowClan deputy, but she took the parcel and, lifting her tail, marched through the woods. Whoa. Tawny Pelt looked apologetically at Leafpool. Young cats don't seem to have any respect these days. Young ShadowClan cats, Alderpaw thought crossly. He resented being lumped in with arrogant furballs like Sleekpaw. He remembered being shocked by how she and Needlepaw had mocked their elders at the gathering. Perhaps it was just the way ShadowClan cats were. Needlepaw had always enjoyed breaking rules. That was why she'd left her clan to follow him on his quest. Needlepaw. Thinking about the young she-cat made his fur tingle. He couldn't help admiring her carefree self-assurance. Would he see her in camp? His belly tightened. Been sure that they had become friends on the quest, but she'd been pretty hostile at the last gathering. What if she was unfriendly as Sleekpaw now? He realized the others were pulling ahead, and he broke into a run, catching up as they neared a towering wall of bramble. Tawny Pelt was already disappearing through a tunnel, Stonewing at her heels. Sleekpaw pushed past and ducked in next. Alderpaw followed Leafpool, unnerved by the heavy stench of ShadowClan. The tunnel opened into a clearing surrounded by thick bramble. Low branches hung over the camp, and a large rock stood at one end. He scanned the camp, wondering where the medicine den was and hoping to see Needlepaw or Violet Kit. He spotted neither, but warriors moved around the edges, where scrubby grass sprouted beneath the trailing brambles. They watched him, their eyes sharp with distrust. Only one cat hurried forward to greet them. The cream-furred she-cat looked pleased to see them. "Oh, thanks, StarClan, you're here," she meowed with relief. Dawnpelt. Leafpool met her gaze. "How's Little Cloud?" "He's in pain and I've run out of poppy seeds," the she-cat told her. "Don't worry," Leafpool told her. "We've brought plenty of herbs. I will ease his suffering the best I can." "This way." Dawnpelt headed toward an opening in the brambles. Stonewing reached it first and dropped his bundle of herbs at the entrance. Sleekpaw spat hers down with a snort. "These taste foul." Leafpool nudged her away and sniffed at the herbs, as though making sure none had been damaged. It doesn't matter what they taste like. It's what they do that counts. "Leafpool!" A deep mew called across the clearing. Alderpaw turned to see Crowfrost hurrying towards them, his black and white pelt rippling in the breeze. Rowenstar followed more slowly, his eyes dark with worry.
"We need to talk to you."
Leafpool dipped her head respectfully to the ShadowClan leader and his deputy. "I must check on Little Cloud first." The ShadowClan leader halted.
"Of course."
He sat down and curled his tail over his paws.
"We will be waiting when you're done."
Leafpool nodded to Alderpaw. "Come with me." She picked up a herb bundle and disappeared inside. Relieved to escape the stares of ShadowClan, Alderpaw followed her into the den, wrinkling his nose as the stench of sickness rolled over him. Leafpool crouched beside Little Cloud. Alderpaw stared at the sick medicine cat, shock prickling his paws. Little Cloud's fur was matted and he looked so small, curled in a nest that looked as though the bedding hadn't been changed in a moon. His nose was pale and dry, his eyes half closed and cloudy. He wheezed with every breath. Carefully, Alderpaw laid the feather he'd been carrying on the needle-strewn floor of the den. As he did so, Dawnpelt patted in, her eyes shimmering with worry. "Who's been looking after him?" Leafpool turned on her. "His nest is filthy, and he needs water." Dawnpelt flinched. "I've been doing my best." "Couldn't you have sent an apprentice for clean bedding or wet moss?" Leafpool demanded. Dawnpelt dropped her gaze. "I'm sorry." Dang, it's because all the apprentices were, full of themselves. Alderpaw felt a wave of sympathy for the she-cat. She looked weary and anxious. He wouldn't have liked to have asked an apprentice like Sleekpaw to help with mundane duties like moss gathering. I imagine it's kind of like when you're an adult and you're talking to, high schoolers. Oh my god, that would suck. I'm still scared of high schoolers. Hi, Monkey. Rudy, I'm reading Warrior Cats. Hi, Lazy Cat Food. Hey, Ollie. What is it? What's your question? My mom let me vape at 6? That's terrible. I'm sorry your mom did that. Divided the weight of the hummingbird's eyelashes by the amount of dwarf planets that are observed universe. Oh, math. I don't know. I don't have the resources to know how much a hummingbird's eyelashes. Do they even have eyelashes? They only have feathers. That's the answer. They don't have eyelashes. Leafpool's gaze softened. I'm sure you've done your best, but we need to get him more comfortable. Should I fetch moss now? Dawnpelt offered. Not yet. Leafpool straightened. I need to speak with Rowenstar and Crowfrost, then check on Grassheart. She looked worriedly as though she feared the queen might be as poorly cared for as Little Cloud. Stay here until I get back. Deftly, she unwrapped the bundle of herbs and pulled out a few stalks of tansy. Chew this into a pulp and try to get Little Cloud to swallow it. It should ease his breathing. She shoved the tansy towards Donpel, then hurried out of the den. Alderpaw paused, uncertain to what to do. Alderpaw! Leafpool's call made him jump. He hurried after her, catching up as she reached Rowenstar and Crowfrost. He tried to ignore the gazes of the other Shadow Clan cats, who were still watching from the edge of the clearing. Tawnypelt stood, looking anxious, beside Stonewing. A dark gray warrior with a torn ear was whispering to a lithe white she-cat. Two young toms were crouched beside the fresh kill pile, a half-eaten thrush lying between them. Make it quick. Leafpool's mew was brisk as she addressed the Shadow Clan leader. Alderpaw's ears twitched hotly. Were medicine cats allowed to speak to clan leaders that way? Rowenstar seemed unruffled. His solemn gaze rested on Leafpool. I have something important to ask you. Then ask, Leafpool told him. I need to check on Grassheart. Rowenstar exchanged glances with Crowfrost before speaking. We were hoping that you would agree to stay with us for a while. I'll stay as long as Little Cloud and Grassheart need me. Rowenstar leaned closer. We were hoping you'd stay long enough to train our apprentice medicine cat. You have an apprentice? Leafpool's ears prickled with surprise. About time, where is he? Or have you a she-cat in this time? She scanned the camp eagerly. Puddle-Kit's a tom, and he hasn't been apprenticed yet, Crowfrost explained. Puddle-Kit? Leafpool stared at the deputy in disbelief. You want to put a kit in charge of your medicine cat's den? Puddle-Kit is 6 moons and will be made an apprentice any day now, along with his littermates. Rowenstar told her sharply. Did Little Cloud choose him? No. Rowenstar shifted his paws. Then you've had a sign from StarClan, Leafpool pressed, or has Puddle-Kit had a vision? Crowfrost fur rippled along his spine. We don't know. You don't know? Leafpool's eyes widened. Does this kit have any connection with StarClan at all? Rowenstar lifted his chin, his gaze hardening. Okay, to be fair to Puddle-Kit, Leafpool took on Holly-Kit as an apprentice before she had any visions or signs or whatever. I guess she was allowed to because she's the medicine cat and she chose Hollypaw, but like, still. Rowenstar lifted his chin, his gaze hardening. ShadowClan must have a medicine cat. We have decided Puddle-Kit will be the one. I'm asking if you would be willing to train him. Alderpaw stared at Leafpool. He understood her shock. It seemed like madness to choose a random kit to take care of a whole clan. Would she agree to help? Yeah, but they don't have a choice. Their medicine cat is dying. What? Leafpool closed her eyes for a moment, as though gathering her thoughts. I suppose the starving cat can't choose its prey. Exactly, she growled. How long would you need me to stay? Crowfrost answered. We thought a couple of moons would be enough. You think it's that easy? Leafpool stared at him. In ThunderClan, medicine cats stayed apprentices for many moons, more than warriors. I'm not training him to stalk birds. There's a lot to learn. And even then, a medicine cat needs experience. More experience than you can get in a couple moons. Rowenstar held her gaze. As you said, a starving cat can't choose its prey. Leafpool glanced up at the canopy, as though trying to glimpse Silverpelt sparkling above. StarClan help you. With a sigh, she faced Rowenstar. Very well, I will stay and help for a couple of moons, but I can't promise it will be enough. It will be plenty. Rowenstar growled softly. Puddle-Kit is a ShadowClan cat. He will learn quickly and perform his duties well. Leafpool stared at him. Alderpaw could sense the tension between them and wondered how Leafpool would react. Alderpaw? Leafpool looked at him. While I check on Grassheart, find some moss and soak it in water. Little Cloud will be thirsty. She glanced at Rowenstar. Is there an apprentice who can help? Rowenstar turned his head, scanning the shadows beneath the bramble wall. Needlepaw! Alderpaw's heart quickened. 2 bright green eyes flashed beneath the trailing branches. Slowly, a sleek silver she-cat with white chest fur slid out. Elderpaw straightened, forcing his ruffled fur to smooth along his spine. Needlepaw caught his eyes and nodded a curt greeting before padding towards her leader. What do you want? Is that any way you talk to your leader, ma'am?
Go with this ThunderClan apprentice and gather wet moss for Little Cloud to drink from.
Rowan Star told her. Needlepaw glanced towards the medicine den. Wouldn't it be easier to carry Little Cloud to a ditch and then let him drink there? He weighs hardly more than a mouse. Jesus Christ. Rowan Star showed his teeth, his eyes flashing with anger.
Do as I tell you.
Tawny Pelt hurried towards them. Are you being insolent again, Needlepaw? She glared crossly at her apprentice. Needlepaw's eyes rounded innocently. I was just making a suggestion. Leafpool shook out her fur and headed across the clearing. I assume the nursery is still where it's always been. Yes, Tawny Pelt followed her. Grassheart is resting, but she's eating well and hasn't complained of any pain. Good. As the two she-cats walked away, Alderpaw glanced at Needlepaw. Where's the best place to collect moss? The whole forest is practically one big moss garden. Needlepaw sighed and padded towards the camp entrance. Hi, by the way. Hi. Alderpaw followed, his pelt hot. Is she pleased to see me? She was acting so casual it was hard to tell. He searched for something interesting to say, but Needlepaw beat him to it. Every cat round here is really impressed with me, she told him. Her voice echoed around the trees as they emerged from the bramble tunnel. I brought back a special kit for the clan. Now we're part of the prophecy, too. Elderpaw ignored her boasting. How's Violet Kit? Is she okay? Is she settled in? How should I know? Needlepaw mewed. She's in the nursery most of the time with Pine Nose and her kits. Anxiety prickled in Alderpaw's belly. But she comes out to play, right? Of course she comes out to play. Needlepaw stopped at a large pine tree and began scraping moss from between the roots. She's a kit. What else do kits do? Do you play with her? Alderpaw thought of games he'd played with Twigkit. Mouse ball, cat and mouse, hunt the acorn. She's a kit. Needlepaw pulled off a long strip of moss and flung it towards Alderpaw. I don't play kit games. But you helped find her, Alderpaw reminded her. Doesn't that make her special to you? Needlepaw glanced at him. Do you play with Twigkit? When I'm not busy with my apprentice duties. Alderpaw told her. Needlepaw sat back and looked at the pile of moss she'd collected. I'm training to be a warrior, not a medicine cat. It takes up all my time. Are you going to help with the moss or not? I think you've gathered enough, Alderpaw told her. We just need to soak it in water now. There's a pool over there. Needlepaw nodded past the camp wall. Follow me. As she marched away, Alderpaw grabbed the moss between his jaws and followed. Hi, J-Sizzle! When they reached the small pool filled with rainwater, he dunked the moss. The cold made his nose ache. As he lifted it out, water dripped onto his chest. Needlepaw stared at him, her bold green eyes sparkling with amusement. You look like an otter. Alderpaw's fur ruffled along his spine. He turned, self-conscious, and headed towards the camp entrance. As he carried the sodden moss into the medicine den, Dawn Pelt stood to greet him. Her jaws were green with tansy pulp. Alderpaw could smell the sharp tang of it even over the musty scent of dripping moss. Needlepaw padded in and stopped beside the entrance. Looking curiously at the sick medicine cat. He looks so small, she commented. His fur needs washing. Alderpaw piled the moss beside Little Cloud's nest and lifted a clump of it to stick in the sick Tom's mouth. Little Cloud's nose twitched, but he didn't open his eyes. Turning his head, he lapped helplessly at the moss. Alderpaw pressed the soaked leaves closer so that the moisture ran into his mouth. Little Cloud swallowed with a gasp. Alderpaw turned to Dawn Pelt. You need to make sure he has water all the time. Dawn Pelt nodded, looking guiltily. Okay. As she spoke, Leafpool padded into the den. Grassheart seems well. She's close to kidding. She stopped beside Alderpaw and pressed her ear to Little Cloud's chest. The tansy has eased his breathing, she commented. I'll mix some herbs that'll help with his fever. Can I help? Alderpaw reached for the herb pile. You can fetch clean bedding with Needlepaw, Leafpool told him. Alderpaw felt a stab of disappointment. He wanted to show Needlepaw how much he'd learned about being a medicine cat. But he didn't argue. He would be focusing on helping Little Cloud. Oh, he should be focusing on helping Little Cloud, not showing off to Needlepaw. Nodding, he headed for the entrance. Do you know where there's any dry bracken? He asked as he brushed past her. She followed him out of the den, ignoring his question. Don't you get bored of being bossed around? I want to help my clanmates. Little Cloud isn't your clanmate. He's mine. Otherpaw stopped and faced her. Don't you want to help him? Needlepaw shrugged. I guess. But I thought that was why Leafpool came here. She can't do everything by herself, Elderpaw meowed, feeling a prickle of irritation. Needlepaw gazed at him for a moment, then flicked her tail. Do you want to see Violet Kit? Alderpaw's heart lifted. Yes, please. She's in the nursery. Needlepaw's mew was suddenly bright. Come on, I'll take you there. Wait! Elderpaw suddenly remembered Twigkit's feather. He turned back to the medicine den and darted inside, snatching it from the ground and speeding out again before Leafpool could speak. He raced back to Needlepaw, the feather fluttering against his nose. Needlepaw purred and headed across the clearing. This way! As she reached a bulge in the bramble wall, she ducked. Elderpaw watched Needlepaw squeeze through a narrow entrance among the prickles. He climbed in after her, ignoring the thorns scraping his pelt. Inside, he was surprised to see the entrance open into a warm, spacious den. A black she-cat lay in one nest, a pale brown tabby in another. The pale tabby was around with unborn kits. Elderpaw dropped his feather and stared at her. Grassheart? He'd never seen such a pregnant cat. He was amazed at her size and wondered how big her litter would be. Grassheart lifted her head wearily. Who are you? The black she-cat hissed. Yes, who are you? It's okay. Needlepaw soothed. He's a medicine cat. He came with Leafpool. Otherpaw felt hot with embarrassment. I'm just an apprentice, he corrected. I was hoping to see Violet Kit. He gazed hopefully at the Black Queen, guessing that she must be the cat who was nursing Violet Kit. Oh, her. Pine Nose sighed and relaxed back into her nest. She's a funny little thing. I keep trying to persuade her to go out and play with my kits, but she insists on staying indoors and amusing herself. Elderpaw followed Pine Nose's exasperated gaze and saw a small black and white kit sitting on her haunches at the edge of the den, pawing at a tendril sticking out from the wall. Aw, she's depressed. Violet Kit? He called softly. Would she remember him? She'd been so young when Rowan Star had taken her away. She turned her head and blinked at him, her eyes showing no emotion. Elderpaw's heart tightened. She looked even lonelier than Twigkit, playing by herself. It's me, Elderpaw. I've brought a present from your sister. My sister? Violet Kit blinked at him, confused. You mean Lion Kit? Lion Kit's not your sister, Pine Nose corrected. It's from Twigkit. Elderpaw pushed the feather slowly towards her. Violet Kit stared at it, her fluffy pelt spiking. It's a feather. She mewed slowly. Yes. Elderpaw nudged it closer. A red one, like the one you used to play with when you shared a nest with her. Violet Kit's eyes suddenly lit up. I remember. She pricked her ears and bounded forward. Is it the same one? Elderpaw shook his head, then softened the story a bit for the young kid. The old one got dirty, so Twigkit found you a new one. Especially for me? The kit's mew cracked before she broke into a loud purr. She pounced on the feather, trapping the quill between her paws and watching the fluffy tendrils until they were limp and soggy. I love it! Violet Kit lifted her face and stared at Elderpaw. Tell Twigkit I love it! She sat up suddenly. How is Twigkit? What's she like? Has she got a feather too? Is her tail fluffy yet? She always wanted the fluffiest tail. Has she tasted Vole yet? I want to taste Vole, but Pine Nose says I'm not ready. Her words tumbled out excitedly, leaving Elderpaw breathless. Which question should he answer first? Suddenly, he thought of Sparkball. She'd been a lively kit too. His heart ached to imagine how he could have grown up without her endless questions and ideas for new games. Twigkit's getting fluffier every day, and she tasted her first Vole 2 sunrises ago. She helps me out in the medicine den a lot, and... Is she gonna be a medicine cat? Violet Kit asked excitedly. Elderpaw purred. I don't know. Violet Kit, Pine Nose called to her. It's time for your nap. But I'm not tired. Violet Kit glared at the black she-cat. Yes, but Grassheart is. Pine Nose Pine Nose answered, and she doesn't want to listen to your chatter. Otherpot swallowed back frustration. Violet was so young. Surely the queens could be kinder to her. Perhaps she could play with her feather. Pine Nose crossed her paws irritably. It's time for her nap, she insisted. Elderpaw could see that it was pointless arguing with the queen. He looked sadly at Violet Kit. You'd better rest, he murmured. He glanced at Pine Nose. The Shadow Clan queen was scowling at him. Besides, I have to go home. Already? Disappointment sparked in Violet Kit's wide amber eyes. My clanmates will be expecting me. Violet Kit stared at him hopefully. Will you come and visit again soon? Pity welled in Alderpaw's throat. She should be in ThunderClan playing with her sister, not here in this unfriendly den. He longed to help her. I'll try. Violet Kit gazed at him bleakly, as though she didn't believe he meant it. I'd better go for my nap. Tail drooping, she turned and climbed into the nest and settled beside Pine Nose. Alderpaw lifted the feather between his teeth and set it down beside her. Sleep well, Violet Kit. I'll tell Twig Kit all about you. Tell her I'm gonna be the best warrior ever. I will. Regret filled Alderpaw's belly. Trying not to show it, he headed for the entrance. We'd better go find some bedding for Little Cloud, he told Needlepaw. I guess. Needlepaw squeezed out in front of him. I never realized Violet Kit was so talkative. Perhaps you should try spending more time with her. After all, you did find her and name her. Elderpaw patted across the camp. Maybe. Needlepaw sounded thoughtful. It'd be cool to have a kit following me around. Elderpaw hardly heard her. He was lost in his own thoughts. Violet Kit seemed so lonely. If only there was something he could do to help her. He pricked his ears as a thought struck him. At the camp entrance, he halted and stared at Needlepaw. I have an idea. Needlepaw met his gaze eagerly. What? Elderpaw lowered his voice. Why don't we let the kids meet? You mean Violet Kit and Twig Kit? Needlepaw looked puzzled. But how? We can decide on a meeting place, then sneak them out one night and take them there. You mean in secret? Needlepaw's eyes shone. Well, everyone's sleeping? Elderpaw nodded, ignoring the guilt worming through his belly. Surely Violet Kit's happiness was more important than clan rules. Besides, Elderpaw couldn't help feeling that the clan should never have separated the kids. He pushed away the thought that this would also be a chance to see Needlepaw again. This wasn't for him, it was for the kids. Yeah, all right, buddy. Needlepaw was pacing. There's a great spot near the border. I'll show it to you while we're collecting Bracken. It'll be perfect. No one would ever know but us. She flicked an ear towards her unseen clanmates, pleasure warming her gaze. Then she turned back to Elderpaw. Don't you just love secrets? He picked the best cat to ask, or like, he knew immediately that suggesting it would be totally fine because Needlepaw is like finding reasons to break the clan rules. Hi, Jake. Hi, Ryder. Why does water taste so gross, you guys? Why can't water be better tasting? It's not fair! Why must my body crave this? This stuff. Oh my god, we're changing POVs! We're not in Alderpaw's POV. We're in Violet Kit's POV. What? Violet Kit shifted and snuggled closer to Pine Nose, but she couldn't get comfortable. Ratscar's words ran around in her head. She's not really one of us, is she? It was late and the clan was sleeping now, except for the cat sitting vigil beside Little Cloud's body. He had died as the sun had set 2 days after Leafpool had arrived. The ThunderClan medicine cat had been by his side, and the clan had crouched at the edge of the clearing, avoiding one another's eyes as they listened to the weakening moans of their medicine cat. I should be sad that Little Cloud is dead. She knew that she was supposed to be sad, but she'd hardly met Little Cloud. He checked her over when she'd first arrived in the clan, but he'd already been sickly looking then, and she had shuddered at his sour breath. Besides, Ratskar's words were still gnawing at Violet Kit too sharply to allow her to concentrate on Little Cloud. She's not really one of us, is she? She'd heard the skinny, dark brown elders, oh, it's an old person. She's not really one of us, is she? She heard the skinny, dark brown elders meow as she passed the elders' den that morning. He was talking about me. Kinkfur had protested. She must be one of us. StarClan sent Needlepaw to find her. Violet Kit had paused, pricking her ears, hoping Oakfur would agree with the old she-cat. Oh, sorry, that wasn't a kit. He must be one of us. StarClan sent Needlepaw to find her. But he remained silent, and his silence had jabbed Violet Kit's heart like a thorn. Pine Nose. She pressed Pine Nose's belly with her paw. The queen's older kits had moved into their own nests in the nursery, arguing that they were nearly apprentices and far too old to share their mother's nest. Grassheart was asleep, her round belly moving in the dappled moonlight. From time to time she moaned as though bad dreams kept waking her. Pine Nose was snoring softly. Pine Nose! She poked the queen again. What is it? She snorted as she woke up. She looked blearily at Violet Kit. Are you ill? No. Violet Kit blinked at the queen through the darkness, wondering suddenly if she'd ever seen her real mother's face. She couldn't remember it. I need to ask you something. Pine Nose yawned. Can it wait until morning? No. Do I really belong in Shadow Clan? Of course you do, dear. Pine Nose shifted, pushing Violet Kit closer to the edge of the nest. You wouldn't rather be with ThunderClan, would you? They're such a bunch of know-it-alls. But I heard Ratskar say... Pine Nose interrupted her. Don't listen to clan gossip, especially not gossip you hear in the Elder's Den. Those cats have nothing to do but talk. Violet Kit longed for Pine Nose to pull her closer, as Lilyheart used to do, and lap her head until she felt calmer. But Pine Nose rolled over with a grunt, and within moments was snoring again. That's so sad. This poor kit. Hope she runs away. Violet Kit hung her chin over the edge of the nest, feeling Pine Nose's flank fall and rise against hers. Across the nursery, Grassheart was still fidgeting and moaning. Birch Kit was curled into a tight bundle. Or maybe she can, go hang out with Leafpool and be like, their medicine cat. Or because they're not one of the Shadow Clan cats, quote unquote, so she can feel accepted within an unaccepted cat as well. Birch Kit was curled into a tight bundle, his muzzle buried under his paw. His limbs were quivering, as though he was dreaming of hunting. Puddle Kit's head lolled, his mouth was open slightly. Slate Kit stirred, but the Grey Tom didn't wake. Violet Kit wondered if they thought that she belonged too, if she didn't belong too. Perhaps every cat in Shadow Clan thought she shouldn't be here. Then why did Rowanskar take me? She tried not to remember the night of the gathering when, without warning, the Shadow Clan leader had plucked her from her scruff and carried her away from Twig Kit. It felt like an awful dream, but it hadn't been. The next morning she'd woken up here, not in Lily Kit's nest. Suddenly she remembered her father. She dug into the moss and pulled it out from where she'd hidden it for Oh, sorry, not her father. Suddenly she remembered her feather. She dug into the moss and pulled it out from where she'd hidden it for safekeeping. She buried her nose in its soft fringes and shut her eyes. Was that Twig Kit's scent she could smell? She breathed it in deeply, feeling herself relax. Tiredness began to seep into her pelt, imagining Twigkit beside her. Violet-Kit let herself drift into sleep. Puddle-Kit! Pine Nose's alarmed mew woke her up. Go and fetch Leafpool. Grassheart is kidding. Violet-Kit blinked open her eyes, her heart pounding. Pine Nose was crouching beside Grassheart, who was writhing in her nest. The pale tabby's breath was fast and hard, a growl deep in her throat. Puddle-Kit darted from the den. We'll go with him. Birch-Kit leaped from his nest, Lion-Kit at his heels. They disappeared through the entrance. Violet-Kit blinked at Pine Nose and Grassheart. What should I do? Grass-Kit's growl turned into a wail. Trembling, Violet-Kit squished herself deeper into her nest, flattening her ears. A moment later, Leafpool burst into the den. In the moonlight, filtering through the bramble walls, Violet-Kit watched her run a paw over Grassheart's heaving belly. Everything's just as it should be, the ThunderClan medicine cat meowed calmly. For now, she only needs some wet moss to drink. Violet-Kit can fetch some. Pine Nose meowed briskly. Violet-Kit? Leafpool turned and blinked through the shadows. Are you there? Violet-Kit peeked over the edge of the nest and nodded. Go to the apprentice's den, Leafpool told her. You can sleep there tonight. But what about the moss for Grassheart? Violet-Kit stared at her, eyes round. I've already sent Puddle-Kit to fetch some, Leafpool told her. He's gonna help me deliver these kits. Pine Nose bristled. He's not an apprentice yet. He will be soon, and the quicker he starts training, the better. Leafpool meowed firmly. She flicked her tail towards Violet-Kit. Go. Violet-Kit scrambled from her nest and headed for the entrance, relieved to get away from Grassheart's frightened moans. She nosed her way out and froze. Rowan Star, Crowfrost, Tawnypelt, and Stonewing were still sitting vigil beside Little Cloud's body. It lay like a stone in the center of the camp. Ratscar, Oakfur, and Kinkfur crouched nearby. Her heart pounded, and she swerved to avoid the vigil, but as she moved closer to the apprentice den, new worries invaded her mind. What would Sleekpaw and the other apprentices say when she told them that Leafpool had sent her to sleep with them? They weren't exactly friendly. A soft mew sounded from behind her. Violet-Kit, I was just coming to find you. Needlepaw patted from the shadow at the edge of camp.
Tis pre-recorded.
You're missing the I in your message, bro.
Find me?
Violet-Kit spun around, alarmed. Had she done something wrong? Deltarune is today! Hasn't it already released? Or is it not released yet? We have to go somewhere. It's out! That's what I thought. We have to go somewhere, Needlepaw. Oh, sorry. We have to go somewhere. Needlepaw halted, her green eyes shining in the moonlight.
But Leafpool told me to go to the apprentice's den.
Violet-Kit told her.
Grassheart is having her kits.
So? Needlepaw shrugged. You can do that later. Besides Little Cloud's body, Tawnypelt turned. Her eyes flashed with worry as she caught sight of Violet-Kit and Needlepaw.
I am one too. Hello.
Beside Little Cloud's body, Tawnypelt turned. Her eyes flashed with worry as she caught sight of Violet-Kit and Needlepaw. The tortoiseshell hurried towards them. Violet-Kit, why are you out of the nursery? It's late. Needlepaw answered for her. Grassheart is kidding. She jerked her nose towards the nursery. I'm supposed to take care of Violet-Kit. That's a lie. Violet-Kit blinked at the apprentice, surprised. Make sure she gets a warm nest and some sleep. Tawnypelt turned back towards the nursery. Violet-Kit was impressed. Tawnypelt hadn't doubted Needlepaw for a moment. I wish I were like Needlepaw. She's so sure of herself. Needlepaw glanced at her. Are you ready? Ready for what? Violet Kit stared at her, tongue-tied. She could only nod. Then follow me and keep quiet. Needlepaw headed for the camp wall, slipping into the shadows where the brambles swallowed the moonlight. We mustn't be seen.
Why not?
Violet Kit whispered, butterflies fluttering in her belly. We're going on an adventure.
Where?
Outside the camp. Violet Kit hesitated. Outside? Needlepaw turned and thrust her muzzle close. You're not scared, are you?
No.
Violet Kit lied. She didn't want Needlepaw to think she was a scaredy mouse.
But I might get into trouble if I leave the camp. Not if you're with me.
Needlepaw blinked at her. Violet Kit shifted her paws. Was that true? Was she allowed to leave the camp if she was with Needlepaw? Perhaps it was a special mission, something to do with Little Cloud dying or Grassheart having kids. Everything had seemed so strange all day. Perhaps leaving camp was okay now. Needlepaw ran her tail along Violet Kit's spine. Just stay close to me and you'll be safe. Needlepaw's tail felt soothing. I will be safe. It sounded reassuring. Violet Kit lifted her chin.
Okay, let's go.
I've lost my spot. Needlepaw purred as she headed deeper into the shadows. As Violet Kit trotted after her, she wondered where they were going. Then she smelled the familiar scent of the dirt place and realized they were headed for the narrow tunnel that led out of the back of camp. She ducked in after it. She ducked through it after Needlepaw, blinking as darkness pressed in the brambles. A moment later, she was outside. Needlepaw tasted the air. Come on. Her silver pelt shone as she padded through a strip of moonlight. Follow me. Violet Kit tried to stay close behind Needlepaw, peering up at the trees. Their thick trunks disappeared into shadows overhead, and specks of starlight glittered through the gaps in the thick canopy. She tripped over a root and landed on her chin. Oof! Be careful. Needlepaw turned to look at her, her eyes shining in the dark.
I wasn't watching where I was going.
Violet Kit confessed. You'd better start. The forest is a dangerous place at night. There could be foxes anywhere. Foxes? Fear sparked in Violet Kit's chest. She didn't even know what a fox looked like. But from the nursery tales she'd heard, she knew they were fierce. She strained to see into the shadows, sniffing for strange smells. She hurried to catch up to Needlepaw. She was used to the warm cat scents of camp. Out here, countless odors filled her nose, and everything was dark and strange. How would she know if a fox was nearby? She padded closer to Needlepaw, brushing her flank. Give me some space! Jesus Christ. Needlepaw nudged her aside. I don't want to be tripping over you all the time.
All the way where?
Violet Kit glanced at her anxiously. It's a surprise! Needlepaw ducked beneath a low-hanging branch and jumped across a ditch. Violet Kit halted at the edge, wondering if she could clear the deep rut in the forest floor. She could see water glimmering at the bottom. It smelled rank. She didn't want to fall in. Bunching up her muscles, she crouched and wriggled her haunches. Fixing her gaze on the far side, she leaped. Her front paws reached the far side, but her back paws fell short. She hooked her claws into the needle-strewn earth and scrambled desperately with her hind legs. Alarm flashed through her. She struggled to haul herself up. Teeth clamped down on her scruff, and she felt herself being swung through the air. Needlepaw dropped her on the ground. This journey will take forever if you can't jump a simple ditch. Jeez. Needlepaw? Oh my god. I used to like Needlepaw, now I don't like her. She was okay in the first book. Better, and then now she's like rude. An owl screeched. Violet Kit ducked, her heart pounding.
What was that?
Needlepaw snorted with amusement. An owl, Toadbrain. Haven't you heard one before?
Yeah, but I didn't know they could fly.
She'd heard Lion Kit and Birch Kit talking about owls that stole kits in the nights. She thought they were like foxes. She fought the urge to duck under Needlepaw's belly. What if it came back? Could scoop her up and take her into its nest like fresh kill. Don't worry, Needlepaw told her, as though reading her thoughts. I can fight off an owl. Here. She crouched beside Violet Kit. Climb onto my back or we'll never get there in time.
In time for what?
What was this mysterious adventure about? Stop asking questions. Burning with curiosity, Violet forgot the owl and scrambled onto Needlepaw's back. Clinging to the slender apprentice's shoulder, she flattened herself against her spine. Needlepaw broke into a trot. Is Pinenose feeding you enough? Needlepaw teased. A mouse would be heavier.
She feeds me plenty,
Violet told her, but she was worrying that she was too small. But if she never grew as big as the clan cats, then they'd always think she didn't belong. Needlepaw was moving quickly now. Violet had to grip on hard as the apprentice leaped a fallen tree, picked up speed as she ran down a slope, then cleared 3 ditches in a row. Watching the forest flash past, lit by strips of moonlight, made Violet dizzy. She closed her eyes and clung on like a tick. Where were they going?
I am the size of a mouse in real life.
Needlepaw was headed further and further from camp. What if someone noticed that they were gone? What if they got lost? As Violet's thoughts whirled, the scents around her started to change. She opened her eyes and saw that the pines had been replaced by gnarly oaks and slender birch trees. The forest was littered with leaves, and their musty scent filled Violet's nose. Where are we? She breathed. Can't you tell by the stink? Needlepaw slowed to a halt and sat down. Violet slid from her shoulders, the leaves crunching beneath her paws as she landed.
You should make videos like this. Aww. I mean, to be fair, this will become a video.
But I guess a video would be like non-interrupted. There was a cat scent here, but it didn't smell like ShadowClan scent. It was still familiar though. She blinked, remembering. ThunderClan scent.
Are we on ThunderClan land?
She glanced around nervously.
What if a patrol finds us? What if ShadowClan cat sees us here? What if...
Needlepaw cut her off, cuffed her gently around the ear.
You and your what ifs. Oh no, not my bad. It's...
You are all good. No one's gonna see us. ThunderClan will be asleep, and our clanmates are too busy mourning Little Cloud and worrying about Grassheart to patrol.
Why are we here?
Violet gazed at Needlepaw, her ears twitching nervously. Needlepaw was staring at a clump of ferns. Moonlight pooled around them. Leaves fluttered down as a breeze stirred the sleeping forest.
Why?
Violet began to ask again, but Needlepaw cut her off. Hush, they're coming.
Who?
Quick, hide! Violet felt like her heart was going to burst as Needlepaw darted behind the arching roots of an oak. She scampered quickly after her, panting as she ducked down beside the apprentice. She could hear paw steps. You said they'd all be sleeping. Violet didn't dare speak out loud. Blood roared in her ears. She wanted desperately to peer over the root, but she knew she mustn't be seen. Needlepaw, a soft mew sounded a few tail lengths ahead. Are you here? Violet frowned. She'd heard that mew before. She opened her mouth and let the scent wash over her tongue. It was a Tom she'd met only a few days ago. It's Alderpaw! She hissed at Needlepaw, less alarmed now. What's he doing here? He's brought someone to see you. Needlepaw leaped onto the root and swished her tail. Hi, Alderpaw. Her eyes shone with amusement as Alderpaw backed away, alarm spiking his pelt. You made me jump! He meowed reproachfully. Did I? Needlepaw tipped her head innocently to one side. Did you bring her?
Bring who?
Pelt prickling with anxiety, Violet scrambled up beside Needlepaw and stared at Alderpaw. A small shape moved behind him. 2 ears poked out beside him, then a muzzle.
Violet Kit?
A tiny mew sounded through the darkness. Violet froze, her thoughts racing. Could it be? She jumped down from the root and sniffed the air. A strange scent touched her nose, familiar and not familiar.
Twig Kit?
Green eyes blinked beside Alderpaw. Then a gray kit darted forward and slammed into Violet Kit. Unbalanced, Violet Kit tumbled backwards.
It's you! It's really you!
Twig Kit thrust her nose against Violet Kit's cheek, purring loudly. Surprised, Violet Kit shook her off and leaped to her paws. She stared at Twig Kit. Twig Kit stared back.
You remember me, right?
Of course I do. Violet Kit blinked at her, too overwhelmed to move. Worry sparked in Twig Kit's gaze.
You are pleased to see me, aren't you? Warrior cats, yeah! Violet Kit hesitated, emotions swirling through her like storm clouds. She was more pleased than she could say. But what did Twig Kit expect? How could she act? Of course, she stammered. You look different and not different all at the same time, Twig Kit blurted. She leaned forward and sniffed Violet Kit. And you smell weird. So do you. Violet Kit was surprised that the smell of ThunderClan seemed so strange to her now. You smell like cobwebs. You smell like pine needles. Twig Kit patted around her, purring loudly and rubbing against her. It's so good to see you again. I've been learning how to be a medicine cat. I want to be a medicine cat apprentice when I'm old enough, just like Alderpaw. Alderpaw's my friend. She glanced at Needlepaw. Is she your friend? Violet Kit followed her sister's gaze nervously. Would Needlepaw mind if she said yes? She didn't want Twig Kit to think that she hadn't made any friends in ShadowClan. Twig Kit was clearly close to Alderpaw. She probably had a lot of friends in ThunderClan. I guess. Violet Kit mewed softly. What's her name? Twig Kit blinked at Needlepaw. I'm Needlepaw. The sleek silver she-cat jumped down from the root and patted around Alderpaw. Did you manage to sneak out of camp without being seen? Violet Kit saw a glint in Needlepaw's eyes. She sounded like she was teasing Alderpaw. She frowned. Were they friends? Let's play! Twig Kit Mew took Violet Kit by surprise. A paw thumped her flank. Got you! You're the warrior now, and I'm the mouse. Twig Kit raced towards the root and scrambled over it. Violet Kit watched her go, wondering what to do. It's a game, Toad Brain, Needlepaw told her. Go and chase her. Alderpaw and I can talk. Don't go too far, though. There are owls here, too. Owls? Violet Kit's heart lurched. The tips of 2 small ears showed behind the root. Come on, Violet Kit, chase me, Twig Kit called. Her ear tips twitched enticingly. Excitement tugged at Violet Claw's paws. In a moment, she forgot owls and, with a squeak of delight, leaped over the root and bowled into Twig Kit, rolling them through the leafy litter. Twig Kit struggled away. Now you're the mouse! She raced for a patch of blackberry bushes. Twig Kit darted away, leaves brushing her face as she pushed through the blackberries. Ferns rustled her as Twig Kit dived into a clump. I'm gonna catch you! Twig Kit called happily. Twig Kit plunged through the ferns, squirming between the fronds until she felt soft paws touch the tip of her tail. Twig Kit tugged. I'm the mouse now, she cried. Turning, she squeezed her way out and haired her way across the stretch of open ground. Hi, Frog! Don't some of the bigger owls kill cats? Yeah. They do. They hunt small, like if they find a kitten, they'll eat the kitten too. They're foreboding this owl nonsense quite a bit. Oh, I've lost my spot. As Violet Kit ran after Twig Kit, her heart leaped. She'd been so lonely in ShadowClan. Now she was with her littermate again. And they were playing like she hadn't played since they'd been parted. She felt like she might burst with joy. They played until they were both out of breath and scrambled to a halt in front of Alderpaw and Needlepaw. The apprentices were talking, Alderpaw watching Needlepaw with wide, beseeching eyes, while Needlepaw paced back and forth, her tail held high. I bet Tawny Pelt is a grumpier mentor than Jayfeather. No cat is grumpier than Jayfeather. Violet Kit interrupted them. Why don't you play? Alderpaw blinked at her. I've been training all day, he told her. I don't want to play. Needlepaw rolled her eyes. ThunderClan cats are so dull. That's not true. Alderpaw nudged her shoulder teasingly with his nose. Needlepaw stepped away. Come on. She nodded to Violet Kit. We better head home. Home? Grief jabbed Violet Kit's heart. Weren't she and Twig Kit meant to be together now? Wasn't that why Needlepaw had brought her here? She blinked desperately at the ShadowClan she-cat. Is Twig Kit coming with us? Twig Kit can't come to ShadowClan. Needlepaw sounded surprised. Then why did you bring me here? Violet Kit asked. She wanted to wail. To visit your sister. Needlepaw shrugged. You've had fun, haven't you? Now it's time to go.
Sorrow threatened to knock Violet Kit off her paws as Elderpaw glanced up through the branches. Dawn will be coming soon. We should get home before the camp start to wake up. Ours is already awake, Needlepaw sniffed. Little Cloud died yesterday. The old cats are sitting vigil. Elderpaw's gaze darkened with sorrow. I'm sad to hear that. Needlepaw shrugged. It's not exactly a surprise. He was like the oldest cat in the forest. Needlepaw headed upslope towards the pines.
Come on, Violet Kit.
Violet Kit stared at her numbly, struggling to understand. Why would Needlepaw bring her here and then just take her away? Needlepaw flicked her tail. We need to get back before Pine Nose notices you're gone. Violet Kit's throat tightened. She stared desperately at Twig Kit. Did you know we were just waiting? We were just visiting?
Elderpaw explained.
Her sister touched her muzzle gently with her cheek.
He and Needlepaw wanted to cheer us up. This was the best way he could think of.
Her warm, sweet breath tickled Violet Kit's ear. Violet Kit pressed against her, trembling. Suddenly she remembered what it felt like to sleep beside her sister, curled tight against her soft fur. We'll see each other soon, Twig Kit promised. Violet Kit wasn't convinced. How do you know that?
Because we have to.
Twig Kit pulled away, her eyes round. We're kin. Elderpaw dipped his head towards Twig Kit. Come on, we better hurry. Gently he nosed her away, up at a leaf-strewn bank. Violet Kit's belly grew hollow as she watched him guide her over the top. Leaves swished as they disappeared into the shadow of the woods.
No!
A wail escaped her before she could swallow it back. Sadness pressed around her like freezing water. She had to go back to Shadow Clan, where no one wanted to play with her, where she couldn't smell her sister's warm scent. She'd be alone again. A warm muzzle touched the top of her head. Violet Kit's heart lurched. She looked up, surprised to see Needlepaw gazing at her with soft, sympathetic eyes. Don't worry, Toadbrain, Needlepaw mewed gently.
But I belong with her, not with Shadow Clan.
Anger surged through Violet Kit's chest.
Shadow Clan doesn't want me. No one cares about me there. I'm so lonely.
Needlepaw's eyes glistened kindly. I know how that feels, Kit. She ran her tail softly along Violet Kit's spine. Then she puffed out her chest as though she'd made an important decision.
But that's gonna change. From now on, I'm gonna look out for you. You're gonna be just fine.
Violet Kit blinked at her, a flicker of hope piercing her sorrow. It still hurt terribly that she didn't have her sister in Shadow Clan, and that so many of the cats there barely seemed to notice her. But she saw sincerity in Needlepaw's eyes. Maybe now all of that would change. Maybe now she finally had a friend. Oh! Guys, it's so hot. It's so hot. I don't think I can last. I don't think I can read too long. It's too much. Also, why was that chapter so long? What in the heck? Oh, I'm only on chapter 3, and we're already like 1/4 of the way done the book. Grand Marshal, that's me, Grand Marshal. Okay, I think I have to retire for today.
Because I'm too hot.
Yeah, I should go drink water. Maybe I can have sushi. Maybe I can order sushi. Some nice cool sushi.
Share! What's your favorite kind of sushi? Caddy just tried to dehydrate me?
Oh my god, Caddy.
All of it, I used to work at a sushi restaurant.
Wait, then what's your favorite? Like, what was your go-to? You must have had like a lot of things to taste. Anything that customers left behind. My sister does the same thing, actually. If she can sneak it. She works at a, not at a sushi restaurant, but she works at a restaurant as a server. Crash 3 or Crash Twin City? Crash Bandicoot?
Last Bandicoot?
What's yours? I love anything with salmon in it. As long as it's like raw salmon. I'm not like too much of a fan of like a cooked salmon sushi roll. But I love the raw salmon.
I'll just eat it like a cat.
Like a slug.
Yum 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 yum. What is this language?
You're right, it does match it. Well, I mean, I know Russian, but like, what does it mean? Sorry, I like said that terribly. I wonder if my translator works. Let's see. Hold on. Unless it's like not good. Did it work? It didn't work. Translate. That's not nice to say, brah. Beep. You know what's crazy though? Can I delete a message? No, I can't.
Haha, Russian to translate. Good one.
Today's been a really weird day for viewers. Maybe the sun is getting to everyone. Everyone's just like a little too hot and toasty. Just a little too much. I want to get rid of this message, but I don't know how I can. How come I can't delete my own dang message?
Did you tell me the drum joke? I don't know. What was the drum joke?
The only way for me to like... Oh, I have unstable connection? Average stream bitrate is too high. Oh, dang, my bad. My bad. Oh, wait, I said that on stream. Maybe I was off stream? I don't know, I said that to someone else. On the server. Oh my god, there's like unbanned. Pleebleen! Or Pleebleen. These people. You're not in the server? Not the server, the Minecraft server. The Minecraft soul.
I didn't steal Maddie's jokes. I had it. I had it already.
Lampus, yes, Lampus. Lampus, Lugolay. Alright, guys. I'm going to head out. I'm gonna go party warty. And by that I mean I'm gonna maybe soak my feet in cold water. They say if you soak your feet, then it like really cools you down. And it's the same if you're really cold. You got a green plant badge! Blossom badge level 1! Wait, isn't that like one of the new Twitch things? which you can like grow it into a flower, right? Twitch badge right now.
Is you okay? What happened? No, it's really hot in my room.
Events. Oh my gosh, mod appreciation. Weekly rewards! There it is. Blossom badge level 1. Earn this badge for watching a clip, VOD, or live stream 3 days a week. The badge upgrades weekly. Oh!
So you have to watch a VOD or a clip 3 times per week. And then your flower will slowly grow.
That's really cute. Aww. There's 4 stages of it.
What?
Ends July 27th. You guys have a while to work through it. There's also Final Fantasy Fan Fest badges. You can get the checkmark complete quest badge and the unlock quest badge. There's an anime face. I can't go back to FF14, just can't. Dead by Daylight. Oh my gosh. A dinosaur badge. Football badge. Mod Appreciation Day. Wow.
Hi, Motorboat!
There's so many people streaming Lampus. It's been day 6 already in Lampus Lazuli. Crazy. Okay, I'm gonna head out. Ooh, I'll raid you guys into Dizzy. Or maybe I should raid you guys into... Yeah, I'll raid you guys into Dizzy. We're doing... Well, not we're doing, but there's gonna be a rat trial soon. The rats in Lampus are suing the Admiral of the Navy. So there's gonna be a trial, and Dizzy is streaming, and she's in the Navy, so I'm sure she's gonna be there. So if you wanted to watch the trial, then this will be perfect. Okay, my amigos.
I love you. I'll see you tomorrow.
I think tomorrow we'll play Subnautica. I can't like running out of my Subnautica times. I don't want to forget it. Maybe you'll see me if you watch Dizzy's stream. You'll be working overtime again. Well, hopefully I'll be able to stream longer tomorrow. I don't think it's as hot.
Okay.
Yeah, medical's like rough too. Are your shifts like really, really long, or actually we're running out of time?
Bye, guys. I love you. See you.
Wait, where's the button? Did it even set up? I don't think it's set up properly. Just kidding, it didn't even work. Oops, wrong thing. Raid. I did the wrong thing. That's why it didn't. I'm like, the countdown can't be taking this long, but it was. All right, bye for real this time. Bye for real this time. I'm gonna copy my PopCub message.
For realsies. Okay, bye, guys. Everybody stay cool. Remember, seeing the good in things is